and welcome here to TalkFCB, and welcome back to the channel here today, guys, for what is going to be a full breakdown, piece by piece, of what our concerns are right now about this Barcelona team. After a very, very unconvincing start to the new season, exactly what needs to be put right, and who are we looking at right now to enforce that kind of change? We're going to be having a very brutally honest conversation here today, because I have felt this way for quite a long time now, and it's all going to be coming out, and I'm really interested to know what you guys are feeling. So come on, and let's get to it. Because I do just want to start by saying right here today, guys, that I don't want to be all doom and gloom at the start of a brand new season. That's not what I'm saying right now. Oh, the season's over already. What can we achieve? This team is going nowhere. I fully acknowledge that it's only been 2 games, and that actually those 2 games have been against very, very awkward opponents. I fully understand that. But for me right now, and the whole point of this is exactly the time to pinpoint your problems as a club early in the new season, the areas that you need to improve. There's plenty of time to find solutions here. The transfer window even is still open, as we're going to talk about today, and that is why it's important that we don't ignore these problems, that we don't ignore the flaws that we can all see in this Barca team, because otherwise they will come back to haunt us later in the season when it really matters. Because look, guys, and this is the first thing, this is not only for me about the first 2 games of the season. This is not just about the way that we started. I said it yesterday in the review. How long have we seen underwhelming Barca performances? It's been a long time now. You're looking at last season, I would say midway through last season, things started to tail off. We started to go downhill, and there was a lot of talk about, oh, Barca knew they were going to win the league. They were so far ahead. We had the World Cup in the middle of the season. Maybe the players were a bit tired, maybe they were lacking in a bit of motivation, but it all just started to go downhill. But the problem now is that it's carried into this season. The problem now is that as we're looking at Barca, nothing has really changed, and I cannot understand really what has happened to our performances. Where is the Barca team that showed so much promise, so much excitement about it? Because remember, guys, when Xavi first arrived at the club, remember that month of February 2022 when we had successive games scoring 4 goals? Yes, 4 goals. I know, right now we can't even score 4 goals maybe across 3 games, but we were scoring it every game. Near enough in February. It was an absolutely incredible run of form. We were coming up against teams, and good teams as well, by the way, quality opposition, and just destroying them, swatting them aside, and it was magical. From Xavi, from the players, there was no fear. It was like they were playing with the shackles firmly off, and it was free-flowing football, because this is one of the things that puzzles me most right now, because it almost feels at times like Xavi did better with worse players. That Xavi actually produced wonderful displays with, on paper, what was a worse squad than what we have now. Because this was before we'd spent big money in that coming summer, and just why would that be? But even, guys, since we've made those new signings, even since we've spent money, we were starting to fire again. This time last season, we started the season well, we had momentum, and it was about 10, 11 months ago now that, remember, this Barca team, very, very similar to what we have here today, went away at Bayern and played them off the park. They absolutely dominated Bayern in their own stadium. Now, I know we lost that game, but on performance alone, especially in the first half of that game, it was outstanding, right up there with the very, very best teams in the world. Now, I'm asking you now, what has happened to that team? What has happened to Xavi? Because it seems now like we just have an entirely different approach. It's as though suddenly we don't take risks in our play. Xavi doesn't take risks in his team selection. It's almost as though at times we're happy to settle for 1-0 victories, for a single goal margin. That's how we made our way through most of last season. Remember, relying all on our defence. And I just want to know why. And you have to look, I feel, at our attack. Last season, it wasn't good enough. We did not score enough goals there. And as we move on now to the new season, the same questions are there. We can't hide from them anymore. What is going on with our attack? Where are our forwards? And is this a problem that Xavi can fix? Because looking at some of our forward situations, guys, let's start with Ferran. Because honestly, this is a situation right now I do not get. I absolutely cannot get my head around it. When he first arrived, we spoke about this recently, we signed him for 60 million. Xavi really wanted him. That was huge money at the time, but we paid it. And then Xavi actually overplayed Ferran. It was almost as though he wanted the signing to be a success, so he played him and played him and played him until he couldn't anymore. Last season, barely played him, did not give Ferran a single look in, we cast him aside. Now in the summer, Ferran, like we said, was really motivated, had a really good pre-season, showing actually some good signs, really banging on the door to get in this team. But now, nothing. Xavi does not want to know. He doesn't want to give him a single minute, barely. You look at yesterday's game. This was after he had no minutes against Getafe. Yesterday, he gets 6 minutes against Cadiz. Well, let's not forget, we were struggling to score. We were struggling to actually put the ball in the back of the net. Ferran was there on the bench waiting to come on. He gets 6 minutes. And even when he did, he still managed to score. And that was a real message again to Xavi, give him more time. Because look, guys, we can't sell Ferran. He doesn't want to go. We still have money, actually, to pay Man City for him. It is in everyone's best interests if we actually get something out of him. If we can actually find a way here to make Ferran an important player, to actually recapture some confidence and get the best out of him, we need to do that. When you spend that amount of money on a player, you've got to try and persist with it, and he can score goals. Not only as a winger, but also down the middle as well. There's lots of options for him. Why does Xavi not want to play him now? Why is the opinion on Ferran from Xavi changed so quickly? And is it something that's going to be resolved? And it's not just him, is it? That's the problem right now. This is not just an isolated situation, because then we talk about Ansu Fati, and it's pretty much exactly the same situation. Xavi doesn't really want to play him. He never starts him in games. He's never given him a run of games, really, since returning from the injury problems. And why? You look at the kind of impact that Ansu can have on games. You know, when he's in there in the forward line, he makes runs. He's lively there. He's quite fluid in the way that he moves across that front line, and he's a different type of presence. He's a different kind of player to, for instance, a midfielder. This is somebody who knows where the goal is, who's actually going to try to put real pressure on opposition defences, and it just feels as though here, we're in a new season, everybody should be fighting for their place. Xavi has come out and said, everybody starts from scratch. You know, if you play well, you're going to be in my team. Everybody can do it. But is that really the case? Because it seems as though here there's players like Ferran, like Ansu Fati, who are working hard, who are motivated, who are showing some good signs, but it's like it's already been decided. It's like they've already got no part in what Xavi is trying to do, so they're out. And that cannot be, because we are not blessed with enough forward quality, with enough attacking presence to proceed without them. Because then we talk about Lewandowski, and now this is something that started again last season. We're going back now. This is not just about this season, but going right the way back many, many months. It's been a problem. It's been a growing situation that, again, hasn't changed. Lewandowski is still off the pace. He is still sluggish in our attack, and right now, he is really struggling for confidence in front of goal. I don't really know if he's gone through a stage like this in his career. You know what an incredible career he's had. You know what an unbelievable goal scorer he is. But he's going through a bad time. So the question now is, can Xavi bench him? Does he actually feel as though he has the power, he has the control here to say, Lewandowski, you're not performing at the moment. It's not really clicking. The team is not playing well. You need to go to the bench for a game, for 2 games. You know, we don't know how the situation would unfold, but can Xavi do that? Because right now, we're not seeing that. Because whenever the team is not playing well, whenever we need a change in forwards, it's never really Lewandowski, is it, that comes off. You're never really going to take him off. It's always somebody else. Somebody else is sacrificed. And that is a problem in itself. Because it's almost as though right now, Xavi feels he cannot take out Lewandowski. He cannot put him on the bench. He has to be starting in his team. And then, Xavi also feels as though playing more than 2 forwards is too risky. It's too much of a risk there to commit yourself and play 3 forwards, so then it's always just somebody else. You've got Lewandowski and somebody else, and the subs that come on as well follow that pattern, and that is a real problem. When you're only limiting yourself to 2 attacking players, one of them is not firing, obviously, you're going to encounter problems. And this is the other thing right now, and I think this is another big concern for the club as a whole, and certainly from a financial point of view, the attendance that we're seeing in our temporary home at the Olympic Stadium. 39,000 fans inside the stadium last night, 33,000 there at the Joan Gamper Trophy. Now, this is a stadium that's smaller, of course, than the Camp Nou, but it still holds over 50k, and it's going to be a very strange season playing away from the Camp Nou. It's an unfamiliar home for us here, and it's not not as convenient for many Barca fans to go to it, so you're going to have to work hard to get fans there. You're going to have to give them a reason to go to the stadium and support the team. And ultimately, this is honestly why we've heard about Neymar. This is honestly why we continue to hear about João Felix. I truly believe that here, that the board feels as though the best chance of actually getting good attendances this season, filling up that stadium as best as we can, is to sign a star name, a big name player. And it's no coincidence there that both Neymar and João Felix are only rumoured to be joining the club for one season only. But I just think that's missing the point, because I actually think here that most Barca fans, they don't want another huge name. They don't want another star signing to come in. All they want is good football. That is all we've ever wanted. We want to be entertained watching our team. That is what Barca has always been about. And if this team could show again some of those signs from the past, the free-flowing football, take a few risks, play without fear, people would come and watch. We already have quality players. We already have enough big names in our squad. Let's focus on getting the best out of them. Let's focus here actually on utilising the talent and the quality that we have. And we're bringing in João Cancelo. That for me will help things, because at least with him, he's an attacking fullback. You play him there, his first instinct, get forward. How can I help out in attack here? How can I add another dimension to attack? And that for me is what Xavi needs to do right now. I think the point in time has come when, you know what? Just go back to basics. Go back to what works at this club. Play with natural forwards. Try to make that front line more dangerous, more mobile, more of a threat to opposition defences, and ultimately avoid these non-stop crosses. Because I think at times now, when you're only playing with that one forward of Lewandowski, maybe one other surrounding him, all we're doing, launching it into the box, trying to find him, the ball then bounces away, we lose possession, and it's repeat. What we need to do is have several options, several threats across that front line. We need to have more movement. You look at the first goal yesterday, the kind of combination play between Gundogan, between Pedri, and the way that he was able to make that run from deep. Because there were forwards there occupying the back line, Pedri was able to find his way through because Cadiz were focused on the players in front of them, not the midfielders. If you pack the team of midfielders, they're going to sit off and wait for you to make your move. You need to have threats. You need to have players there who are constantly keeping the defence on edge. We have to put the focus back on attacking. We have to bring the identity of this club back to the forefront. Xavi knows it only too well. We don't need to tell him what Barca are all about. He grew up here. He played here. He's a legend here. He knows what he needs to do. But just take those risks. We know you can do it. We've seen in the past the quality, the performances that we can produce. But I don't know if now the pressure is seeping in. I don't know now if the media spotlight is becoming too intense and everything is being overthought. But get back to basics. Get on the front foot and play with attacking players to take the game to the opposition. But of course, guys, those are only my thoughts on our situation right now. And like I say, this is not just based on these two games. You know, I know we got an important win last night. I'm very, very happy that we were able to. But I've just been feeling this way now for a number of months about Barca, about the performances that we've been seeing. And ultimately, I just want more because I know we can do more. I know this team has so much more to give. But let me know, guys, in the comments down below, what are you feeling right now? What are your emotions while watching this team play? What do you think about their potential and whether we can indeed reach that this season? I'm really, really interested to know what your thoughts are on what we're seeing right now. And of course, there will be lots more analysis and lots more thoughts on the way across this week to come. Thank you indeed, though, for always tuning in, for all of your fantastic support. I really appreciate that, and I will catch you soon. But until next time, as always, Visca El Barça!